Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, take a deep breath. That was an intense day. Welcome to another edition of the Watchpoint Post-Show live from the Blizzard Arena in Los Angeles. The playoffs presented by Xfinity are moving right along, and man, things are getting heated up in here. Malik here, Zoe, Sideshow, Bren. I can barely talk. I can barely remember what happened. That last match was crazy. That was crazy.
I can't believe what I've just witnessed. That's
we,
gonna be.
We went absolutely nuts that day. We just all started screaming and screeching.
That's got to be one of the worst C9 of all time.
Yeah.
Without any
I don't know,
doubt.
man.
Yes,
I think we had a lot of really good.
Consider the implications of this.
I mean, yes.
Our favorites, for pretty much everyone here in our brackets, we had the shotgun to the final.
Yeah,
our favorites are now in the lower bracket in the first round.
Yeah, our finals match was the London Spitfire going up against the
and that's the match we're going to be, what is it, tomorrow?
Yeah. Tomorrow, lower bracket, yeah. Let me say this real quick. I think being a number 6 seed now, playoffs is optimal right now because we saw the Philadelphia Fusion at the 6 seed do the same thing last year. It's crazy. But guys, you ready? Let's go ahead and jump into the first match before we start talking about what we just saw. That being the London Spitfire going up against the NYXL. Now coming into today, not many people were counting on the NYXL to show up the way that they did today, but with Savior will be back in the lineup, they showed up and they played for keeps.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't think they're going to be the favorite coming into this, but boy, oh boy, were people hoping that they are turning it up. And that's exactly what they did. They were playing absolutely dominant. Like, there was not much room on the first control map for London to even come in. They had the point for maybe a little bit, but then it was all New York. They had such good control of that point, such good everything, really.
Yes,
Just they looked really, really clean, cleaner than we ever seen.
It's a good thing they've come out swinging as well, because I would have had some stern words for them. Because in all seriousness, New York, if they didn't impress us here today, they probably would have been one of the biggest disappointments in Overwatch League in terms of franchises, in terms of letting us down. But today, they really showed up big time. They brought out Libero, they've been flexing in Flower every now and then. Sabi always back in as this leadership figure. They look clean. Their ultimate usage seems to be on point. Meko seems to have found his footing on Sigma. I didn't even mean to use the pun, but I couldn't think of any other words. I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to go there.
I think you need Sabi Olby in the NYXL for them to be able to perform in playoffs. He's the emotional leader for this team. He's the soul of New York.
He's got a dog as well.
He's
he owns a dog.
It's a very cute one.
Fantastic. Yeah. Maybe that's why he's doing so well. What you're talking about.
Sorry, continue. Yeah, go on.
I was also really impressed with the amount of niche strategies where they found a way to make these Symmetra Bastion strats work. New York were pulling it out all the time, and London had no idea what to do against it. It looked like they were really unpracticed against playing a Bastion. They were just playing Reaper Doomfist the whole time, and the few times where they tried to run a Bastion of their own, they kind of messed it up, like here.
I mean, yeah, their strats looked very tailored to what we saw from London Spitfire. And yes, granted, New York came in as a question mark from the other side, right? London Spitfire didn't have any material really on NYXL. They didn't know what to expect. They didn't know what they're going to run. Whereas London Spitfire, we've seen so much of them already in those playoffs, so that made it, of course, a little bit easier for New York to come prepared.
Not a fantastic showing from London with putting in guard as well. Apparently, I'm hard to impress today. I just sound a bit annoyed.
Well, I don't know why guard was in.
There you go.
Nobody really knows why guard was in.
No.
I want to piggyback off of that. I got a question for you guys. Can the London Spitfire win, especially against the San Francisco Shock, without Birdring in the lineup over guard? Do you guys think that's possible?
I don't think that guard was the issue. I think it would be wrong to say that they lost because guard was in instead of Birdring.
Right.
But what it does say to me is that they're not confident in whatever lineup they're running.
Yeah.
Because making changes like that without there being some kind of obvious reason signifies that they're grasping at straws a little bit to me. There was no obvious reason why guard should be in. He played a lot of the Doomfist, the same as Birdring was. And then, I guess, a bit of Bastion, but you're telling me Birdring can't play Bastion. Doesn't make sense. Right. So there's something going on behind the scenes with London. And last year, something going on behind the scenes equaled a crazy run through the bracket and an eventual championship. This year, it looks like they might go out first round.
Right. Well, they're going to definitely need all the firepower that they can get in this next matchup because they got the San Francisco Shock, which is it's going to be a pretty tough one.
I mean, London, it's not like they didn't try. I think they tried a lot. If you're looking at their social media, it looked like they're trying to pull some tweet, like, I don't know,
magic.
voodoo magic.
Yeah.
Look at that. So after they lost the third map, this is what they tweeted out. Already congratulating NYXL, saying that there's no way that they can come back. And then 10 minutes later, they quote tweeted themselves.
Well,
With the Jinx has worked. So, I mean, that's a strat.
But did they jinx themselves?
Well,
Did
after they
jinx
won a
themselves?
match,
Yeah,
did
they
that.
jinxed themselves and it worked.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
no,
it
but they
worked for
jinxed
one
themselves
match.
again by saying the jinx has worked, and then suddenly they
Oh,
lose.
man.
Yeah, they
Lost the
reverse
next
jinxed
match. You got to
themselves.
hold on
Yeah.
until you get the reverse
Oh.
sweep.
You fools.
You
You fools.
fools.
Spoke
Next
too
time.
soon. You learn something new every day. These guys know about Twitter. You know, they get the
Oh,
clout.
yeah.
They know about the
Jinxing
clout,
each
how it
other
works.
Tweet
for
from time to time.
years.
You know,
Yo, so I got to ask you, Bryn, after today, how deep do you think the NYXL are going to go in the playoffs?
okay, the NYXL seem very comfortable right now, and this is something that we weren't expecting in the slightest. I really like that the team is working together. They seem to have a game plan going into a lot of these matches. They have tailored strategies on certain maps as well. They're chucking a lot of teams off guard. I think they can really make a run for it right now, especially given it. Well, actually,
Wait,
say that.
no, they go up against the Atlanta Reign. This
I
ain't
just realized, yeah, in my head, I'm
This
like,
ain't
they
happening.
could make a run for it. They're actually up against the Atlanta Reign now. Now, thankfully, it's still in the upper bracket. If
Yeah.
they lose that, they go into the lower bracket. There's still opportunities for them to move forward. But I do feel also we are seeing a different NYXL compared to the one that faced against the Atlanta Reign in the regular season.
Yeah.
Back then, New York were a little bit uncomfortable. And the Reign had a magic about them where they could just seem to be the Giant Slayers and slay these better teams. I don't think New York are going to be underestimating anyone right now in the playoffs.
Right.
And they look like they have got their act together and they are sorted. So I'm expecting this team to actually go far.
What a fantastic opportunity for revenge as well, with New York going up against
The script writes itself. I'm telling you.
It really does. Whoever wrote this bracket's doing a good job.
Gotta love the script writers indeed. Well, it was a knockdown, drag-out fight between the Reign and the Shock, but only one would move on to play the NYXL. Don't go anywhere. We've got all that action from that match coming up.
Support your team with the official Overwatch League Coca-Cola bottles at CokeStore.com. Ships to all 50 U.S. states, Washington, D.C., and U.S. P.O. boxes.
Doing that. Pocket me. I got you. Lucio. More. Let's get it. Nice. Everyone take a breath. Take a very, very deep breath, okay? Everybody on three. 1, 2, 3. Deep breath.
Clutch the baby, let's go.
Beautiful stuff.
Just breathe. All right, it was a back and forth battle between the Reign and the Shock. And coming into map 4, the Reign were up 2-1. Now Gibraltar, this was San Francisco's pick. And we saw with every map, the team that picked that map, they tend to dominate this map. But even with that being said, this was another close one for the Atlanta Reign.
Yeah, insanely close. I mean, this series was just outrageous. The London-Shanghai game that we had in the play-ins, instant classic. This is another instant classic for me. A 7-map series with the Atlanta Reign upsetting the Shock. Each team winning their map pick every time. Back and forth, swings in momentum, and it was outrageous.
Wolf recently put out a tweet, not about the history of Apex, but about just one tweet. But he said that this is some of the most close games that he's ever seen in any sort of double elimination bracket, in any game ever, in any sport. And I have to agree with him. These matches are absurd in terms of how close they are. We've got it doesn't matter what the seedings are. I said today, you know, stop looking at the numbers because it doesn't matter. Right now, a lot of these games are just, it seems to be on a coin flip, as you can see how close they are. The fact that this one goes to game 7, and it's won in like an overtime scenario on the final map.
But I love that. That just shows how steep the competition is in this league. We have 20 teams, and such a big amount of teams can play each other so very close. We're here in those playoffs, and any game could honestly go either way, and I love it. And I do feel like this game came down to very small mistakes on either side, which had to be abused by the other side. It wasn't that one team or player in particular was very dominant.
And one player, I have to say, I mean, Erster got away with murder in this game.
He did. But so did Sinatra.
Yeah, to an extent, but not as much as Erster was getting away with. I do wonder as well. I mean, it's funny as well. Gator wasn't playing quite defensively, was playing quite aggressively with the off angles, trying to get around shields, trying to build up his flux as fast as humanly possible. But at the end of the day, Erster still wasn't being punished despite Choi playing a bit more defensively, trying to peel with the rush, trying to peel with the shield. Erster is just that good. It feels like it doesn't matter how many resources you pour into him to try and shut him down, he's going to carry his team by the scruff of their neck over the finish line.
All right, let me throw this one at you. Would the San Francisco Shock consider running Super and Nevix after this? Ooh. Because I think their tank line got a bit outplayed in this match. I think Gator and Pogpo got the better end of them most of the time. I'm not saying that Smurf and Choyobin were bad by any means, but when you have such a deep roster and you've been knocked down to the lower bracket, is it time to have a think about your game plan?
I don't know, because I generally think that they did prepare with what we're seeing right now. I think it was very intentional that they had Joy and Smurf in. So now when it comes to a basically one game and you're out scenario, I wouldn't switch it up. That's way too risky.
Yeah, they're just 1C9 from not making a decision to switch any of their players.
I'll tell you one team that did switch it up last year. They made quite a monumental switch. It was London Spitfire, actually, when after their first series against the Gladiators, when they got rolled. This was sick.
We've got to talk about this, though, and we return to the London point. They almost didn't even get an opportunity to full hold at the end here, or hold at the end. And Choyobin flanks and stuns the Bastion so that they can get him off the cart. And then they almost pull off this ridiculous hold, chunking away 3 minutes of time.
Yeah.
What a nuts performance from Shock.
We just got to watch this play out now. Look at this. I mean, this team fight, it seemed like everything was going well for Shock as well in the final moments. I mean,
they would have won, man. They would have won.
They would have won. The health points of the Atlanta Reign was so low. It's just that one minor mistake in the heat of the moment. I mean, it happened to the best of the best, as you just saw then. But my word, what a mistake.
I remember saying it seems so unlikely that the San Francisco Shock were going to be able to hold that. If they did, just hand them the title, because they're just too good at that point. But look at these statistics, man. Gator really showed up today for his first, such a big game for him.
Very impressive, actually.
And make an impact. Huge.
A lot of players, they come in as well with the high-stakes situation like this, and they're not going to perform as well as Gator did here today. But to go back to the earlier point about the team that did end up making changes last year, it was London. Right. They took out Closer, they put in Nuss, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. And then they ended up going on a run to the finals.
But that was really important for them because it changed their shot caller. It changed who was actually leading the team.
But will that not happen for the Shock? Given that Super does a lot of the calling.
That's true. Super potentially would. What a strange scenario.
It's so weird
even to be discussing this.
It's a very strange scenario. You know what else was strange was that C9 at the end of the game by the San Francisco Shock, probably one of the biggest C9s that we've ever seen in Overwatch history. Josh, could you please take us into that C9 just a little further to tell us what happened there?
I've got the map overview, so I want to try and jump in and break it down for you a little bit. But I think it's important to set the context. So remember that they had to fend off a ridiculous time bank. And I'm not going to go through how all of the fights went to be able to get us here, but it is important to note that in the previous fight, Massa and Dogman had used both of their support ults, and we thought, right, that's it. If you're facing a Soundbar and a Coalescence, they should get it done. But they didn't. It reset. Final fight is here. And you can see that the setup is fairly even. But the Atlanta Reign have this gravitic flux. And I'm going to run this in super slow-mo so that you guys can see everything that happened. There's a halt and a rock attempt that happens, but nothing really works. And it's Smurf that gets punched. So Smurf is really the player that they're trying to focus down the most. These punishes come out, and attempt to see what happens. Both Doomfists kind of fishing for a pick, but nothing really goes down. Now, here's the Gravitic Flux getting used, and that means that the Reaper and the Doomfist are going to try and hightail it out of there, and the backline is also going to try and play a bit split as well. Shock really good at being able to do that over the course of this series, but look how... and Moth manages to get out his sound barrier in the perfect time to be able to save them from it. So everything's going well for the San Francisco Shock so far. And then it's actually going to be Choyobin who counters with his own Gravitic Flux. And this is where things start looking excellent, but it's where the mistakes start happening for San Francisco as well. The Supercharger is down, they go in with the Gravitic Flux, and this is Choyobin floating above everybody in the air with the Gravitic Flux up. He's going to use it as the San Francisco Shock start going forwards, but at the same time, it's this guy here, Erster, who causes ridiculous problems for them, because the whole of Shock would love to be going forwards and taking advantage of this Gravitic Flux coming out, but instead, what happens is they've got a sneaky, pesky little Doomfist in their backline who's distracting all three of these guys, and between them, they need to be able to find a pick. But they've got 4 people here. 1, 2, 3, 4 people on one guy. One guy. And meanwhile, Choyobin's floating in the backline trying to get something done. But Choyobin's just trying to draw eyes and pull everybody back. It's really on somebody in the backline to be able to get it done. You can see here that Choyobin's trying his best just to drag people away and get picks from the back. He's hoping that one of these 4 players, and obviously now Moth is in the backlines over here as well, will be able to actually get onto the cart. But none of them do. They all just sit here at the back, trying to deal with Erster, trying to chip him down, and they don't realize until the card is capped that they've expended too many resources on the Doomfist. And it's that one play by Erster as he just dives into the backline. I'll play it for you in full speed as well so that you can see how quick they had to make this decision. Erster's in, distracts 4 of them, they get the pick onto Smurf, and before they've even realized it, it's been capped. And that might be the highest value C9 we've ever seen in the Overwatch League. I mean, that could be hundreds of thousands of dollars on that one C9.
Yeah.
And a place in history.
Most expensive C9. I think someone on Twitter put it that way. It was Talia who put it that way. But on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate that as you hate to see it?
I mean, it depends on who you're asking.
Yeah, you love
it. Loved it.
All right, you know what? On that note, so since you want to bring that up, let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket and where we're currently standing right now. So as you can see, the Titans Gladiators advanced yesterday. The Excelsior and the Reign advanced today to our winners bracket. I actually had that matchup in my bracket, just in a loser side of the bracket. I was completely wrong. They're in the winners. It's still looking good. And on the loser side, we're going to get that Spitfire Shock matchup coming up on Saturday tomorrow. So they got to come back in here and perform.
I really feel like, okay, it's the playoffs. Any game could have gone any way, but it's so surprising to me that Shock and Spitfire are in the losers bracket, both of them, when a lot of people were saying that those would be the teams going on deep runs this year. That's wild.
Absurd.
Deep runs.
It is.
Yeah.
I just feel like a lot of those games have been kind of bracket breaker for a lot of people.
For all of us. For all of us.
Not
Yeah,
me.
for all of us.
Yeah, for all of us. Yeah,
No.
what do you mean?
No, I'm actually, like, my bracket is still...
I've seen your bracket.
No, you picked the wrong
No,
thing.
you haven't seen my bracket. This is my bracket.
Oh, my... Really?
What is this?
This-
It's my bracket.
I can't believe they actually
don't be
let you
hating
get
on my
away with
bracket.
this bracket.
So you have Atlanta Reign losing every match.
And winning every match.
Yeah, wow.
For real?
That-
The glass doesn't have ends.
No way,
That's
production.
me.
You guys gonna let this fly? You gonna give her this bracket?
This has
spent
been
money
my
on
bracket.
this, huh?
We have spent money and
You know what?
resources
We spent
on
money
this.
on
Nah.
I had
won't-
the
I
whole
won't
crew
stand by
working
for
on
this one.
Oh, come on. I knew all along that Atlanta Reign just has what it takes. And y'all are haters. Okay, and I guess I am heading to a break now. We'll be right back with more.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Each day during the playoffs presented by Xfinity, we'll be celebrating a victory moment with our fans. So here are some of your victory moments from today. Check out the NYXL fans definitely happy about that win they got.
They really
today.
love Hex.
Oh, they love
They really
They
do.
love Hex.
Horizontal video syndrome, though. Not a fan.
So Yami, another person super pumped about the NYXL looking so good today, so clean, so fresh and so clean. And we got Jamie here, who's appears to be super happy about the Atlanta Rain. Is that you, Zoe, tweeting from someone else's account?
I mean, it might as well be, but no, it ain't me.
Oh man! And guys, don't forget to share your victory moments with us using the hashtag #ShareTheGlory, and maybe you'll be featured on the post show at some point. Guys, I don't know about you, but I kind of want to take a look at some of those crazy plays that we had today. So why don't we go ahead and jump straight into Over the Top? And we're going to start off with a guy who we didn't expect to see today, Guard, with the crazy accretion death as Bastion. Poor Guard, man. You just get thrown out there to the wolves.
Imagine thinking that you could run the Bastion into New York, and then you poke your little nose out of the shield, and you die.
Oh man, so bad. Next up, Erster, who was definitely a problem today for the San Francisco Shock. This is why. Look at this. Oh, slam dunk.
There you go. Give him the old 2K, maybe even 3. There you are.
Put Erster in 2K, please.
How about four?
He's kind of nuts.
All right, moving on. We have
This,
Mom. But this was one of the
Oh,
best
man.
environmentals I've ever seen.
This was so good. He's dropping down, and then he's actually taking the back way, back up, and they did never see it coming, and booping them off. That was just, I don't know, support goals, really.
Yeah, that's so good.
Did he get the achievement afterwards? It's like an achievement if you get like...
I think Mott's done it before.
Are you sure?
Probably. This guy's
Yeah.
a beast.
I
Playing a
actually,
few hours on Lucio.
you're less likely to get it the higher rank you are.
Oh yeah, that's a
What?
good point.
Yeah,
All
'cause
right.
the pros never get booped, as evidenced by
No,
what
because you need like a 4K or something.
Number 2, the boy Striker back with the Reaper Death Blossom. Good to see Striker back in the lineup.
Oh, yeah.
Striker played a great game today. I loved watching his tracer whenever he was on it too. And the San Francisco Shock, they do genuinely look super dangerous.
Yeah, and
Look,
that was,
you said, oh, it's nice that we got Striker playing. That means we'll have Striker versus Sabiobi.
I wanted it. Yeah, and now we don't.
Cursed it.
Yeah.
and last but not least, the Atlanta Rain pulling off the big upset today. Nobody saw it coming, except maybe Zoe.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't be happier for those guys. What a story! Just imagine all the implications this has, and for Baby Bay and for Brad. Like everyone on this team has worked so very hard. Such a deserving team of this.
Atlanta had to work so hard to just get to that 5th map scenario.
Yeah.
And then it takes, a stroke of luck. But luck
7th
is
scenario.
opportunity and preparation. Yeah, 7th map
I
scenario.
can't believe that they're undefeated since the homestand, the Atlanta homestand. It's crazy.
Is that true?
Yeah, they
It
haven't
is,
lost.
yeah.
They haven't lost
They
since.
didn't lose.
They are
What
just
were
going on
they
a
feeding them
tear.
up in Atlanta?
I know.
Those are magic beaches.
The one thing I
goodness.
really
So
liked
cool.
about this, though, as well, is Baby Bay's post-match interview, which was... I'm just
Yeah.
going to talk over this. It was Baby Bay's post-match interview, where he did credit the San Francisco Shock and the coaching staff for turning him into the person he is today.
And the Twitch
And the
bits.
Twitch cheer bits leaderboard.
Yeah.
On top of the
Yeah.
world, on
Yeah.
top of the leaderboard. Our individual leaderboard. We get
Beer
Beer
Cheese.
Cheese,
Nice, 2 things I love.
Phoenix Travis, Ellie Gord, what's up? Pumphead's still
Underscore,
up
big
there.
fan of underscore.
Anita Doctor, how you doing? Cardboard Brain.
Bren, that's you at number 10.
Where's number 10?
What, cardboard brain?
Oh my goodness. Number 5 is just a blank. It's just an underscore. What's up, underscore? Nice to meet you. Thanks for the cheer bits. Much appreciated. And while we're on the subject of Twitch, make sure you pick up the Overwatch League All Access Pass on Twitch so you can check out a live Q&A with some dumb nobody that no one cares about. But you'll find out who that is. So will be the host. And that person will be at the desk answering all your questions right after the post show.
It's Malik, everyone. I don't want to spoil it, but it's Malik.
Wow.
Are you sure?
I'm offended that you would say it's me, so.
I mean, not based on your description.
You didn't
Just-
think...
Wow.
I mean, it could have
Call
been
me a
you.
dumb nobody.
No,
Let the record
I
show.
have the big honor to ask this beautiful, wonderful, big brain man. I don't know where I was going.
All right, guys.
My confidence is out of control.
We're going to be back
talk to you.
We're going to be back tomorrow with the first match.
No, not just yet. Because as I was
Okay,
talking
so-
about you, I mean, we're not there yet. However, it is your birthday soonish. Few hours. For me, every day is a day to celebrate you, but tomorrow specifically is going to be Malik's birthday, and that is why, of course,
I got
we have a
blindsided.
cake
Oh, I got blindsided.
for you.
Don't put it in my face. Okay.
But
we're good.
no, don't worry. We're not going to do that. But look at that. We even have your actual name.
My
Brent, you're
name's
not
on here.
familiar
Oh,
with this.
right?
Like we
No.
actually, not
sure that's not
the
Dante's cake? Like
No,
last-
it's not Dante's
like
cake,
last
but
year?
with you, we have beautiful rings. Don't drop it. Please don't drop it. Oh my God, he's gonna drop it. Is he gonna drop it?
No.
No,
I don't
but
think so.
yeah, no. This is a safe space
Oh my
here. This
goodness.
is a
Yeah,
safe, cake,
don't worry
safe
about it.
space.
Oh my.
Happy birthday to you.
Whoa! Whoa!
That was not a safe space, though.
Oh my God.
Not like this.
It's a decoy cake. It was a decoy cake.
Bryn, I'm so
It's not even
sorry.
my birthday.
Bryn, I'm so sorry to use my birthday to ambush you. I did not know anything about this. I promise you that. That's so messed up. But guys, I just was getting ready to mention the first matches of the losers bracket are coming up tomorrow. We got the San Francisco.
really
Spark,
like this
the London
shirt.
Spitfire, the Seoul Dynasty, the Hangzhou Spark. It's going to be awesome. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But until then, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. I'm going to eat some cake. Good night.
Do it again.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.